Worst case, she will block me. In reality, she replied,
Oh my God, we're going to space, the International Space Station. Yes, I don't even know what's happening right now, but yes, I'll do it, and then we'll figure it out.
You've produced such amazing tracks that we all know, right? From Dune, Dune 2.
My mind was blown because I thought there was no sound in space.
We give such an important role to art, into science, technology, engineering, and math.
never take no as an answer. In space, there is space for everyone.
And just go for it and try it, whether it's in their work or maybe just in your personal life. To talk about shooting a, can I say it? Music video? Music video. Okay.
So welcome to the Astropreneur podcast. And today we have two truly out of this world guests. Tina Guo, a world-renowned cellist, and yes, she will tell a little bit more about herself. And also we have my dear friend Leonardo, who is an engineer and also the space pianist. And I seriously, I'm so excited for this meeting, for this chit chat. And guys, tell me, where are you joining from? So I'm in Istanbul. Tina, where are you?
I am in Huntington Beach, California, so in Orange County at my home. Yes.
That's beautiful. And Leo?
And I am in Malta, and soon I will be the sunset, so you can see a bit in the background. Malta is in the heart of the Mediterranean, for who doesn't know where it is, a little bit south of Italy.
So I guess here I have the darkest right now settings here in Istanbul, and with Tina, it's just the morning has just started. So guys, I suggest let's kick off this meeting with a short introduction for those who don't know you yet, or maybe who are just like new to these topics. Tina, I would love to start with you. Could you please share a little bit of your professional musical journey?
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for having me. And thank you guys for all of your comments. We can see everything you're writing live. It's really exciting to be here. I play the cello and the electric cello. I have a tendency to talk a little too much. So I'm going to make this very concise. I was born in China. Both of my parents are classical music teachers. So I was forced into the family trade. And I played the classical cello for most of my childhood. And I started experimenting with heavy metal, electronic music, and other styles on the electric cello, which led me into working now predominantly in soundtrack music. So for movies, TVs, video games. And I'm just really excited about this collaboration with Leo because I do always, I open myself. I try to remain open for new and different opportunities to create music together. So to fulfill my own artistic passion. And this is one of those projects.
Thank you. Thank you, Tina. Additional question. Have you ever dreamt about space, actually?
Yes, actually. I think everybody who looks up into the sky, and I'm a huge nerd and fan of science fiction. So anything sci-fi. So of course, like space related things have always, I think, really maybe caught my fascination. And I've done some pieces in the past, called Moon Hearts in Space, Moon Hearts. So there's always a little bit of this fascination with the moon. I think both on maybe even like a spiritual level and also on a scientific level, just exploring the history, reading about the history and learning about the nature of our universe. So I think in every area, for me, it's just really exciting. And it's so exciting for me to work with Leo, a real aerospace engineer and a musician. So he's quite the combination superhuman.
Thank you. Leo, now to you, please. No, it's the truth. It's not too kind. Leo, about you.
So, as you correctly introduced me, I'm a pianist and aerospace engineer. And I was lucky enough to develop always together my two biggest passions. And now that I am an adult child, more or less, I have the opportunity to combine them with projects where I work about research in aerospace, in particular about space debris, and with what we can call space art. So in this case, bringing music to space and stream the music from the International Space Station towards Earth. My background is in the classical side of the piano. I did the music conservatory in Italy, and in parallel, I got my bachelor, master, PhD in aerospace engineering. I am also a hybrid of several things because while I was studying classical music, I was playing a lot metal bands of different levels, different type. I have passion for electronic music, and all of these things that apparently are so far between each other found their way to be merged. So I feel them in a synergy. And I'm super happy that today we are here in this virtual chat room talking with you, that you are a super important voice in the space community, with Tina, which, doesn't need presentations. And I'm here talking about this merge between science and art. So I couldn't be happier.
Wonderful. Thanks to this chat right now, I discovered some other sides actually of Leo, which is like so amazing. Question to you, Leo. What sparked actually the collaboration between you two for this fascinating project?
So in reality, it's more a question for Tina, but in my case, I can say the behind the scenes of how it went. So I was already working on Astrobit because this project requires a lot of development together with my team, of course. And in the meanwhile, I was developing ideas. I always work with different ideas. And at some moment, the draft of what became Moonseeds was born. And I was feeling since the beginning that was not a composition only for piano. And I was dreaming of having a lead part made with a cello. Now, I'm lucky and I know different very good professionals in the field. But now I have to behave like a professional. But in reality, since many years, I was a fanboy of Tina. And following her career, that was also an inspiration. So I remember that one day when Dune Part 2 came out, I came back home from the cinema with Ozu, my wife. I was super thrilled by that movie and by the soundtrack done by Hans Zimmer, Steve Mazzaro, and Tina. And I was thinking, you know what? I will write her. So I recorded a very draft version of the piano part, and I contacted her thinking, worst case, she will block me. In reality, she replied, and and here we are today. So I'm really super happy, and I'm really honored that, all of you that you are following and that you will watch this video in the future, you will be so amazed by the poetry that Tina and Steve were able to put inside the Moonseeds. So I created the core of the composition, but really what Tina did is literally out of this world, which is excellent when you go to space.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Tina, for actually responding to Leo back then. So otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here today. Tina, as Leo just mentioned as well, and we all know, your career is truly an inspiration for everyone, I believe, especially those who are coming from a musical field, but also for those who are so into sci-fi, right? Like many from the space sector. And again, you're well known that you worked with Hans Zimmer, and I think that there are so many fans of him as well. How did this specific experience actually influence the contribution to this current piece, Moonseeds?
Thank you. Also, Leo, thank you very much. And by the way, I do receive a lot of emails, and sometimes I don't actually get an opportunity to read through all of them. So I remember I was scanning and then I saw your email and I opened it, and just reading through, I'm like, oh my God, this is fascinating. It's really, really interesting. How many opportunities are there? It reminded me of one of my favorite shows sorry, maybe this is off topic, Big Bang Theory. I don't know if you guys have seen
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Where you're like, I'm like, oh my God, we're going to space, the International Space Station. Yes, I don't even know what's happening right now, but yes, I'll do it. And then we'll figure it out, So, so exciting. And then listening to the piece that Leo wrote, it's beautiful. I could totally feel and imagine the vastness of space. But anyway, I just wanted to say that first. But going back to your question, about, so your question exactly, Ksenia, is about how is it my experience?
How you experience exactly with Hans Zimmerman, but also not only with him, but in general, because you've written, you've produced such amazing tracks that we all know, right? From Dune 2, Inception, Game of Thrones. There are a lot of them. And how this experience maybe inspired you to contribute to this project, or is there any connection, or is it completely different world because it is space?
No, I think everything, is interconnected, literally, quantumly, musically. And so, recently, getting to work on the Dune 1 and 2 soundtracks, with Hans Zimmer. And then also, as we mentioned, Steve Mazzaro, and Steve is not with us right now, obviously, but he, is the one that produced this track that Leo and I composed. That was the first thing that I thought of, because he's such an incredible producer. He's worked on, basically every film. So he works together with Hans that we've done in the past decade or longer. So I think he's really brought a lot to the project. And for me, just sonically, I think because everyone has maybe their unique sound or multiple styles of sound. But for me, I think over the years, it's kind of grown more into a cinematic vibe. So whether I'm doing some more classical style music or even heavy metal or new age music, everything still feels, I think, or I hope, that there's this kind of drama, high drama, melodramatic sound, and just this enveloping kind of when you're in a movie theater and the subs are so loud, or in a live concert and everything's shaking, right? And so I don't know if that makes any sense, but for me, art is also very visceral. So I feel it in my body. And I just feel the idea of space. I mean, you can't get any bigger than space, literally, right? So, I'm not sure if any of that ties together, or if it all ties together. But I think we all just bring in every experience that we have musically, life-wise, into every project we do. And I think working on this is just, another awesome, adventure in this lifetime.
Incredible. Thank you. It makes total sense. And I love this interconnection. And actually, we say that, especially Leo, in the past years, we strive to change STEM to STEAM, right? Where we give such an important role to art into science, technology, engineering, and math. And this is exactly, I believe, that this project also reflects. And this is just so beautiful. And both of you mentioned your good friend, Steve Mazzaro, who is unfortunately not here today with us. But could you maybe shed some light a little bit on, in general, each of the roles of yours during this whole process of recording and the whole project itself? Any of you?
So, I can start, and maybe Tina can continue, so we follow the timeline. So, as I was mentioning, I composed the core, I composed the piano part, and I drafted the orchestral part, with also a bit of literal space sounds recorded by NASA. I mentioned this for the second part of Tina. So I followed my creative process, and I gave the piano part to Tina. First a draft, and here is an adventure. Another adventure. I recorded the piano part at New York University in Abu Dhabi, with a team of Gazzini Records, led by Professor Matteo Marciano, and also that was an adventure, and there are also other things related to NYU. And once they were ready, this was at the end of April, I sent the tracks to Tina and Steve. And now, Tina, please.
Yes. So I received this beautifully recorded and played piano part from Leo, and then so for me, a lot of the music that I write in a stream of consciousness style. Same with like writing, like poetry or other random stuff that I do sometimes. So I just play the piece and then whatever comes out, it doesn't always work. If I'm not feeling inspired, like literally nothing comes out. And then it's like, okay, well, this is not vibing. But when I put on, excuse me, Leo's recording, and then I just push record. And then I usually create, at least like 10 different tracks just so I can like layer different things. And so I just went through it and it actually happened very quickly. So I wrote and recorded, my cello parts in about a day. So in the same day. And then after I just sent the stems, actually funny enough in music, the individual parts we call stems because they're like the stems of the piece. So I sent the stems, over to, Steve, who's up in Los Angeles, and he is such an incredible, in addition to a composer, but an incredible producer. So you can really just take a piece of music and then you record it and it just doesn't sound good, maybe. And not that we didn't sound good, or it sounds like kind of like it's the bones of something. So what Steve does, I think he really expanded the piece, like Leo mentioned, took a look at kind of the structure that Leo had created, because there were some other synth sounds, sub sounds that he had put in. But we thought, wouldn't it be really cool if all the other sounds that you hear in this piece that might, sound like something else, you're like, what is that? They're actually all of the sounds recorded in space that Leo mentioned from NASA. And I was like, my mind was blown because I thought there was no sound in space, right? So I thought like space was silent, but apparently not so. And Leo will have to, explain this because I don't want to sound like a fool. So I was just like, oh my gosh, I listened to all these incredible sounds recorded in space. And we try to incorporate as many of those as possible. So all of kind of like the rhythms, the beats, you're like, oh, is that like a keyboard? No, it's not a keyboard. It's space. And so maybe Leo, you can explain more of how that's possible. Yeah.
Sure. So I want just to add that what Steve did is really outstanding because, people know Steve because of its work. And you know that his work sounds majestic. So which is a trademark of Steve Mazzaro. What he did here is outstanding because all the layers that people will listen besides the piano and the cello are originated by different space sounds, basically, or recorded by different NASA missions, like Cassini, for example. And with different techniques, he managed to get sounds like instruments. So it's fascinating how in space you can record some sounds, but there are different techniques. So one is the simplest, which is not simple at all, is image sonification. So you take some images and became a sound. Other are literal sound. For example, there is the sound of a black hole that has been recorded. Why? Of course, there isn't the air, so you don't have pressure sounds. But around this black hole, there is interstellar gas that is very rarefied, but still is able to, due to the high gravitational distortion, to propagate vibrations. And these vibrations were recorded, and it was a very low sound. So to be able to be perceived by us humans had to be shifted up of some octaves. And basically you have a sound which is really haunting. So there are different examples and different techniques with which NASA got some sounds. And these samples were really is a maestro because when I heard to the first version that Steve sent as a draft, I was, what? I mean, I am a musician, but I was really surprised. So he's literally STEAM. So he also, instead of going from science to art like me, he went from art to science. So it's a really beautiful synergy. And something very different than usual, in my opinion.
So it's a trio for piano, cello, and gas.
And space, let's say space.
Yes, space. It's great. I love it.
I love it. I love this discussion, and I love how you work truly synergically. Like, this is incredible. And Tina, you mentioned this word inspiration that all of us hear on a daily basis, probably. But I believe for this piece and in general in art specifically, this is something so special that we are all looking for us. Let's say, like for me, business person, media, I'm also looking for inspirations on a daily basis, what to produce, right? Like what pieces to create and so on. How do you find your inspiration?
Okay, so I'm 38, almost 39 years old, right? And I think when we're younger, because we haven't experienced as much, it is easier. For me personally, it's easier to find inspiration because everything's new and everything's exciting and oh my gosh, I want to try everything. But as I've gotten older, and there's, I love being my age, but you've experienced a lot of things, right? And so for me, I have found that sometimes, I'm just being honest, because I've always tried to be very, very honest, that sometimes there are moments when I'm like, oh, like I'm starting to feel like sometimes doing the same thing, even if you love it, it's like eating your favorite food. For me, it's pizza and sushi, but imagine eating that every day for every meal. I think someone would be lying if they were to say, I would love it just as much after the 10,000th time, right? And so for me, inspiration always comes from something new. It's still the same. And so that's why I think for this project in particular, I have never done anything that was literally, related to maybe inspired by space or, the moons and the stars, but not actually something that's going to be brought up to the International Space Station as a part of Leo's mission, as part of his work, his other side, the scientist side, up to the space station by astronauts and beamed back down to Earth. That is something different, and that I think in itself, because what is art or what is music? It's just the expression, I think, of our human experiences, of our feelings or even our thoughts and everything. So that for me is a different experience than one that I've had, which is exciting for me. So for me, what inspires me is emotion, human emotion, experiences, love, all the usual stuff, heartbreak, blah, 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 maybe motivations for different things. But for me, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's more of just a different experience, trying to find or meet new people or find things that are scary or exciting or strange, or different. So that's what inspires me.
Thank you for being so honest. Actually, I believe this is what we all need here with, like it's too much of perfect pictures everywhere. It's good to hear the truth. Yeah. Leo, what about you? What inspired you specifically for this project?
So for this project, the idea is literally related to, literal moon seeds. And I explain you the background story about it. So basically, in 1971, with it was Apollo 14 mission, astronauts brought with them to the moon some seeds. And they stayed for the duration of the mission, and they were brought back to Earth to study. Those were the first studies that were possible for humans about seeds in this case. And with the surprise of everyone, most of these seeds managed to stem trees. Now, the interesting story is that these trees now are creating the second generation seeds, and a few of them are already planned to be with the Artemis mission, Artemis 3, so to go back to the moon. So this scientific idea that I also got to discover thanks to who is managing this archive is Dr. Dave Williams from NASA Goddard Space Center. Through this, I found this idea very poetic, even though it's very scientific, because now we are pushing the boundaries to hopefully in not too many years become a multiplanetary species. So of course there is the need of being able to have a self-sustainable environment. So we need trees, plants to also have food and oxygen. So I found this extremely inspiring and that had inside a lot of poetry because as humans, basically, we continuously put seeds everywhere. And for most of times, we hope that these seeds will lead to something, a flower, a tree, so something nice, possibly, is the human nature. So this was the idea around which I later on worked on the composition. And this is why is a moon sits and is a really space related. So this was the original idea.
Beautiful story. I love that it has this story. We need to promote it more. I think it's just so wonderful. Thank you, Leo. What actually do you hope to communicate through this artwork?
Me or is Fortina?
For both of you.
Leo.
Okay. So, in my opinion, I have a little bit rebel nature, even though I am very disciplined, but the two things don't exclude each other. So basically, my main message as a human, because when we create something, there is always our human perspective, is to never take no as an answer, which means along our path, for everything from very small things to big things, we hear people telling us no. When there are things that are perfectly doable. And space is, I think, the biggest example that humanity has. So, to put it in a more pragmatic way, this was also my message when I was at NYU Abu Dhabi for the students, is that in space, there is space for everyone. So not only strictly for aerospace engineers or, let's say, astronomers. And I believe that working to something so challenging and so high in a literal sense helps to widen our horizons and also to see life in a different way. Of course, I am saying this from my own personal perspective, but I think it can be valid for a lot of people.
Yeah, this is so beautiful. I love this. In space, there is space for everyone.
Yeah.
Tina, what about you? What do you think that this project might inspire, like future collaborations between artists and scientists, maybe to create more interdisciplinary projects? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hope so. This project in it of itself, before Leo contacted me, I never would have even, it wouldn't have crossed my mind. I wouldn't have woke up one day and thought, gee, I wonder how I'm going to get my music up into space. So it just wouldn't have happened. And when, the opportunity, arose through Leo, it was such an incredible one. And so I hope, that people can be inspired by this in whatever way that, maybe they're an artist or an engineer or something completely unrelated, and whatever you do in your life, I hope it just inspires them to maybe think about something that's that they find interesting and exciting, and just go for it and try it, whether it's in their work or maybe just in your personal life, away from work, and just to do something. Because for me, again, this is really something that I'm doing because I really find it musically, and I think even mentally, I think it's interesting and challenging and different. So I think and I know it's really like trite, but people are like, oh, think outside the box. But yeah, think outside the earth, think outside of our small subsystems that we're in, to just open your mind and however you want to, translate that for yourself, but just to try to be a little bit more open. Because I think when you're a little bit more open and you can see a little bit more, it's like, wow, like there is just so much possibility out there,
Yeah, exactly. And then those kind of opportunities are going to be arising right through the emails when we're just like scanning it through, going through, and then suddenly, wow, this is something very special. Amazing. So when is the premiere actually? And how can we all witness it?
So the target date for the launch with mission SpaceX CRS-31 is next 17th September. Who is in the field knows that launches can get delayed also last minute due maybe there is a storm. So let's say the nominal launch date is on the 17th. The experiment that is a collaboration with different universities, but is originated from MCAST that I represent here in Malta, will stay in orbit for 1 month. And after the Dragon capsule reaches the ISS, there will be an astronaut. Still, we don't know who is assigned to our experiment, that will install Astrobit. We will check that everything is operative. We will do the tests. So first the scientific part, and after there will be 2 streaming events. One with Moonseeds, which is the premiere, is the soundtrack of Astrobit, and the second streaming event, which will be designed around New York University, Abu Dhabi, where there will be the streaming of another composition of mine, Black Sun, that also has the sound of the Black Sun that I mentioned, that was fully produced and recorded by Gazillion Records, which is a recording label, a recording laboratory, where students have the opportunity to learn there in place, and they are led by Professor Matteo Marciano. There will be the streaming of the winners. I say plural, but I can still not say too much until the official announcement, of 2 compositions that won a space music contest. So basically, we organized there, thanks to Professor Carlos Guedes, a contest. We received a lot of submissions, and in the commission there was also Tina and Steve, and the best one were selected. Besides this, there will be also a composition far out of Professor Carlo Wells, that is also him pushing the research in the field about, let's say, so-called space music. So it is for me a first step towards a very big educational learning opportunity for students, because students there had the possibility to get exposed to a real space project and to a high-level project in the field of space art. So as you know, in October, there is the International Astronautical Congress in Milano, which is the biggest one in the world. And we will have an opportunity also to disseminate projects like this one. So Tina, in case, I know you travel the world a lot, but if you are around Italy in October in Milano, there is this huge event, you are invited.
Thank you. Thank you.
Exactly, Leo.
Yeah, I guess it'll be.
Sorry, continue. I just wanted to re-invite you again, because this was literally what I've been having in my, like, we should get Tina to one of our congresses and do it, record another interview there in the setting with all the space
would be
people.
amazing.
It would be so wonderful.
Would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And I've talked to Leo about this, and because I obviously know nothing about the the minute details of how space launches work and whatnot. So from my understanding, Leo, right, I'm asking you right now in this interview because I'm not quite sure myself. So September 17th is the planned launch date, right,
Yes,
for the shuttle to go up. But we don't know exactly when the actual stream will come. It'll be sometime in September.
So yes. So let's say I can tell the ideal timeline. So usually is a bit less than 1 day for the experience to arrive. Is not clear, but usually happens in 1-2 days after the unload of the cargo, according to the schedule of the astronauts. Each experiment, because we will not be the only one, of course, each new experiment will be installed and taken care of by the astronauts. Based on that, so if everything is nominal, so let's say we are already around the 20th September, we will do the scientific part that could take 2 or 3 days, and we will know the schedule coordinating with NanoRacks and NASA beforehand, of course. After the scientific part is done, there will be the 2 streaming events. So 1 day Moonseeds, and the second day the part regarding NYU Abu Dhabi. So it is reasonable that later on, when things are clearer, this could happen around the 25th of September, something like this, in an ideal case.
Okay.
But of course, if a launch gets delayed 1 day, 2 days, everything shifts, schedules of astronauts. So space goes with logics that are very different from our everyday logics, and is still very challenging. So there are a lot of things to take in account, and also the streaming itself, for who is wondering, I don't know if between the viewers, someone is wondering. Of course, it's different than streaming from Spotify. So basically, what will happen? I guess that this is of interest for everyone. So Astrobit is on board the International Space Station. With the International Space Station, there is a link with the ground control station in Houston, downlink and uplink. So with the downlink, there will be the literal stream of the data, and in this case of the music from the ISS, that in reality is quite close to our heads because it's between 350 and 400 kilometers above our heads. The stream of data will arrive at Houston, and here in Malta, we will have a mirroring of the interface, more or less how it happened for Mallet 3, the previous project where I sent my music. And from this mirroring, there will be a big virtual room where we can share this streaming, for example, on YouTube, and later can be reshared on the different platforms. After this, I guess the music will be available for everyone to enjoy it. And I'm sure I can sign and everything today that people will really like this part. And not only because in space, because really what Tina did really gave me goosebumps. It's amazing. So you will listen.
Oh, thank you. So yes, and that's much cooler than Spotify, I have to say. However, for everyone who does want to listen to it later, the track Moon Seeds, will be available on all streaming platforms, digital platforms worldwide. Some incredible artwork that Leo and his friend have been designing. So I'm excited for everyone to hear it. And once we figure it out, I'm sure we have to be very go with the flow with this, go with the space. But I think once we figure out the date that it'll actually happen, because Leo and I have been trying to figure out the best time to even release the track in a more earthly format on Spotify and Apple Music. But we will post it, as soon as we figure that out. But it'll be sometime around mid-September, I'm assuming, around that time.
Yes, exactly. And you mentioned the artwork. That is another piece of art inside this big adventure. Created by an amazing artist that is Chiara Rovoletto of Sky Up Academy, that is in Italy. She's an incredible artist, so go and check out her work. And she created the artwork of Moon Seeds that I can't disclose it yet, but I think it perfectly represents the idea that we have with this creation. I mean, me, Tina, and Steve.
I think people already started to visualize how the artwork would look like and everything. It all sounds so incredible. And I think we were able to excite so many minds of people to really get into this more and to discover themselves as well and to see how they can become the part of the space sector. And I have a question to both of you as well. If you don't mind, we already discussed openly our plans regarding the upcoming Space Congress, but maybe do you already have some other projects on your mind? Spacey, non-spacey? Anything to share with us?
In my case,
so
okay, let's go, Tina.
Go ahead. No, you go first. Go.
No,
I was just gonna. Okay, I was just going to say, related to this, we're going to have a call on WhatsApp, right, Leo, after this live stream ends,
exactly.
To talk about shooting a, can I say it? Music video? Music video. Okay. We thought it'd be really fun. Sorry. No, but we're in the process of figuring it out. So Leo, cause he's going to be in Houston, right, at the Space Center, and then find a time to come to LA or come out here. And so that is something really exciting that literally has to do with this, and it'll be up on YouTube and whatnot. And as far as other projects, I'm leaving in 3 days, for Dubai. So it's the first, shows with Hans, with the Hans Zimmer Live, official band. And it's the very first 2 shows, this year. So 2 shows in Dubai at the Coca-Cola Arena. And then we have a US tour. So actually in October, I think we're still going to be on tour in North America. But if for some reason it doesn't, I don't know when this, the conference is, but I would love to come. But I think as of right now, I'm still going to be on tour at that time, but I'll be touring with Hans for about 2 months in North America, US and Canada this fall. And then just working on some personal projects, including my name is Tina Guo, and I call, my software Robo Guo. So it's like a robot version of myself. I've released 2, music softwares previously, but we just developed, Steve Mazzaro and I, who's also a coder in addition to being a composer and producer. We did this together. And so we are launching this, hopefully sometime later this year as well. So it'll be a new Robot Tina electric cello, library. So these are the major projects I'm working on.
Amazing, really. And I hope so much that we will be able to witness it very soon from you, Tina, and from you, Leo, that I don't know, I really wish to see more projects, you collaborating on them with other wonderful individuals that you discussed already today. And I'm sure it will inspire so many young ones, but also people who want to refine themselves again. Thank you so much to both of you. It was a beautiful chat. Thank you for sharing everything with us. And I can't wait to truly meet you in life. I mean, with Leo, of course, space conferences, but Tina, with you, maybe somewhere in the world during your tours or anywhere else, or maybe in space. Who knows?
In space would be awesome. Let's do that. We'll do brunch.
Thank you so much. It was incredible. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Ksenia. I really enjoyed this chat, and the energy is beautiful, really beautiful. Thank you a lot.
Thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.